Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How is everybody this Friday evening? We hope you guys are doing well. Of course, we say hello and we toast to you and you and you and you, everybody watching all around the world, all of our lovely viewers who join us every single day, just about 7 days a week, live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We started this show back in late April. Some 260 episodes with extraordinary guests from every background of life you can think of, from Broadway and Hollywood, television, film, music, as well as health and wellness and science, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, authors, and so much more. We are literally booked with guests now till about almost the end of April, every single day, just about, which is extraordinary. And it's been that way ever since we launched this show many moons ago. It's good to have you with us. If you're just testing the waters and joining the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment lifestyle talk show series for the first time, well, we welcome you. This series was born out of my professional work as a television and radio personality, as well as presenter and host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, and stage MC. And for years, colleagues and so many others have said, Jim, you should do a show like this. So what we're doing is bringing back the lost art of conversation, not even really like interviews. And sometimes we don't even have a guest. Sometimes we do 2 hours of host chat, just talking about life and food with countless viewers all around the world. And it's really, really cool. And we have a lot of that coming up too, as well. So stay tuned for those host chat shows I know you guys like. We've also taken the show on location multiple times as well. And I know you guys love that. And we'll be doing more of that as soon as we are able to do that. But it's always a pleasure to have you here. And again, we just love the response we've been getting from all around the world with our international audience, all the Instagram comments and the private Facebook messages and all the tweets. And it's just really amazing. The viewers call themselves the Lovities because back in the summertime, I said the show is inspirational about light, love, and levity. And I said love and levity just a little too fast. And we came up with Lovity, which I think is really cool because the world could use a little more levity, that's for sure. So the viewers are the Lovities. They call me Mr. Lovity. They call this Lovity Hall. They welcome the guests with open arms, warmly, as Lovities as well. And it's pretty cool. So if you're just joining us for the first time, you're in for a real treat. Just want to let you know, big show tomorrow. My dear friend Lynn Hillary, who used to be with Nunya and also Celtic Woman. I've interviewed her multiple times on television. She's going to be here tomorrow live at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. GMT. So that's Ireland, Scotland, England, for a very special conversation and guest appearance. She's also going to sing and perform live for us as well. And that's tomorrow, live from Ireland, Lynn Hillary, brilliant Irish singer, songwriter, musician. And she's also a teacher as well. We're going to talk a lot about that coming up on tomorrow's show. Now, before we get things going, you're probably noticing I'm wearing red, right? Not quite Valentine's Day yet, but today is a very special day here in the United States. It's National Wear Red Day, which actually each year in February calls attention to the #1 health threat for women, which is cardiovascular disease. It's all part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign, which happens in February. And on February 5th, that's when everybody wears the red. So we are wearing the red in honor of women and in honor of good health. So, yeah, we wanted to do that for you guys because, again, it's a very important health subject when it comes to cardiovascular disease. It is the #1 health concern for women. So we toast all of you watching. And again, get those screenings, get checked, and stay healthy, especially with everything we've been going through with COVID and all. Let's check in with some of our lovely viewers. We've got special guests tonight who are joining us live from New York City. We're so excited to have them here. They are from the New York Theater Barn. Now, we've been talking about that on the show that they'd be here tonight. We have Artistic Director Joe Barros and Associate Artistic Director Jen Sandler live from New York, and it's a pleasure to have them here. They'll be joining us in just a minute. Let's check in with some of our fabulous Liberty viewers from all around the world. Of course, we welcome you to the show as we're sporting the red. Willie, one of our regular lovely viewers, is watching from the Netherlands. It's nice to see you as always, Willie. Hello, dear fans of Jim Masters. Wishing you a great show. Dear Jim, we enjoy your talent and energy to run some 300 shows. I think it is up to 300. You guys were counting how many episodes, which is amazing, 7 days a week. Thank you, Willie. We appreciate that. We toast you in Holland. Mary Bishop in Florida says, hello, Jim and lovely friends. It's good to see you, Mary, in Pine Island, Florida. In Ontario, Canada, one of our other lovely viewers watching every night. Merlin is here. Hi, Jim and Lovedies. It's good to see you as well. We love that you're tuning in once again from Canada. And Ann Wozniak is here from Florida. Good Friday evening, Jim, and everyone. Hope today was a great day for all. Spectacular day. Very busy day here. Hope you've had a good day as well. And anybody watching that hasn't had a good day, we're going to put a smile on your face tonight. Crystal Nolan is watching in Connecticut. Hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Looking forward to an exciting show with inspiring conversation. And of course, our very famous Lovedy here on the show. Everybody loves the Lovedy on the show. All the guests, when they come on, they're like, when can I come back? Which is really cool. We got a couple of cool people coming back. Dream of Denver is coming back. Wonderful actress and wife of Bob Denver, who played Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. She was with us last night commenting with our guest. And also Sean Kanan. Actor Sean Kanan is going to be here. And of course, he used to be on General Hospital and so many other. This will be his second time with us here on the show. And coming on February 16th, we're excited to announce that renowned alto saxophonist and smooth jazz composer Will Donato is going to join us live for a great performance. From South Africa, Juanita is here. Hello, Jim and lovely family. Hello, Juanita. Hope you're doing well and your lovely daughter is as well. Allison, good to see you as well. Hi, Jim. Fun is exactly what's going to be. Robin is here. Good to see you, Robin. Happy to be here. Hey, Jim. Nice to have you with us. Robin, who's also now a Lovedy. And whenever I raise the glass, everybody toasts back, which I think is cool. Kathleen is here from New York City. Hi, Jim. Hope you're doing great. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you, Kathleen. Tulips coming in from Holland, from Willie. Linda Odell in St. Augustine, Florida. Good evening, Mr. Lovedy, and good evening, Lovedies. We love that. Allison says, Jim, you're looking good. Thank you very much. We're sporting the red turtleneck today. I love turtlenecks. I'm a sweater guy anyway. But we're sporting that in honor of all the women out there, because of this very special Go Red campaign that's happening. Love your red turtleneck, Mr. Lovely. Thank you very much. And Mindy is here. Mindy Sandler. So glad to be watching tonight. Welcome to the show, Mindy. Nice to have you here. And Maureen, good evening. Good Friday evening from work. I'm listening while I finish up some paperwork. Hope things are going well. Again, you are one of those frontline workers in the medical field. God bless you, Maureen, for all that you do. I know sometimes you race home so you don't miss our show. Linda Odell says, good evening, Mr. Lovedy, and good evening, Lovedies. We welcome you. Mary Ryan in Connecticut says, hello, Jim. Good to see you as well, Mary. Thanks for joining us on a Friday night. Anne in Southern California says, hello, everyone. Glad to be here with all you beautiful Lovedies. Nice to see you as well. From North Carolina, Christine Clifton. Good evening, Jim and Lovedy friends. Welcome, New York Theater Barn's directors, Joe and Jen, to the show tonight. Absolutely, they are here. We're going to have some great conversation. And we also have some great samples of some of the work and cool things that happen at the Theater Barn. Merlin says, welcome, Joe and Jen, to Lovedy Hall. You're now Lovedies. I already gave them the scoop on the whole Lovedy thing, and they love it. And Mindy says, hi, Jen. Hi, Joe. And Willie says, Joe, Jen, and Jim. It's the 3 J's today, isn't it? That's funny how that worked out. Jennifer in Allentown, Pennsylvania says, hi, Jim and everyone. I'm now light packing, staying overnight at best friend's house tomorrow. You're COVID safe. Perfect. Perfect. We love that. And Francis says, hello, Jim and everyone as well. Keep those comments coming. We're a very viewer-centric show, as you guys know. Tess LaBella, wonderful friend, actress, comedian, voice artist in Florida. So happy to be here, Mr. Lovedy. Me too at work, but did not want to miss another night. Good evening, all Lovedies. We love that. Yes, it is National Wear Red Day. I've had some heart issues in recent years. Thanks for wearing red today, Jim. My pleasure. My pleasure. Absolutely. And I hope you're feeling well as well, Christine. So we do have some very special guests that are joining us. Yes, we have Jen Sandler joining us and Joe Barros. So we're very excited to have them here. And let me tell you a little bit about the incredible work that they do. It really is cool stuff. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about Joe and Joe's background. He's very, very talented, and he's an award-winning director and choreographer working on Broadway regionally and internationally and in film. And in addition to developing original musicals around the world, he's also the co-founder and artistic director of the New York Theater Barn. In Broadway, associate director Gigi, off-Broadway, The Evolution of Man, Cagney, Bastard Jones, A Taste of Things to Come, and national tours of A Charlie Brown Christmas, Beaches, Aida, and so much more. Goodspeed Musicals, too. Very familiar with Goodspeed Musicals in Connecticut, of course. And that's just a little bit about his extraordinary work. We're going to have him chat us up a little bit more about his background. Jen is amazing as well. She's a creative producer and theater administrator based in New York City. Recently co-produced Broadway Bounty Hunter at the Greenwich House Theater. Jen serves as the Associate Artistic Director of New York Theater Barn and as original programming producer at Feinstein's 54 Below. I've been there many times and have emceed several performer friends concerts at 54 Below. We love that place. She's also the A&R Director of Theater Barn Records, an imprint of Broadway records dedicated to musicals in development. She also worked on Penn and Teller on Broadway as well at the prominent theater companies such as Playwrights Horizons, Primary Stages, and MCC Theater. And the New York Theater Barn itself is an anti-racist nonprofit theater company that has served as a home for original culture-shifting musicals during its incubation since 2007. And through the evolution of their core programs, the new work series and Choreography Lab, they have lifted up thousands of writers and artists, which we're very, very big about here on the show, aren't we? Positivity, inspiration, lifting people up, creating a springboard, the barn, for really taking folks to the next level. And since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the company successfully pivoted from in-person to live virtual presentations. Really amazing work that they're doing. And let me welcome them live to our show. It's a pleasure to have Joe here and Jen. Hey, gang, thanks for joining us and welcome to the show.
Oh, I got the memo for red.
You got the memo for the red. That's perfect.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. How have you guys been doing? It sounds like you've been staying creative and staying connected and sane during all the craziness of the many months we've all endured together.
We have. In fact, for the past year, we've really been focused on empowering artists and our team, involving our programming and being a part of the transformation of theater as we know it, working with what we've got for now, and with an eye on returning to live. And our mantra during this time has been limitation is creation. In fact, we actually haven't lost any funds. We've had so much more money than ever come in for the work that we're doing. And so we're so grateful for that. And I just want to clarify that, you know, I'm not talking millions here. I'm talking thousands of dollars. And there's been a lot of growth for us. In fact, we have 5 new board members, 15 new advisory board members, and our board has just approved a new budget that supports our commitment to paying artists and our staff for the first time ever.
Wow.
That's
major. Yeah.
And we've been focusing on what we can do versus what we can't. And, you know, we're a company that focuses on development. So, you know, the pandemic has been incredibly scary for theater, but I think we traditionally we do, you know, do things all the time when there isn't a pandemic where there is an audience, but we do so much with development that we've been able to evolve our programming in exciting and innovative ways where, you know, we want to go back in person, but there's so many things we've learned during this time that we want to continue to do and incorporate. And it's really exciting.
That's fantastic. Let's talk about, again, I just previewed and teased a little bit about the origins of the Theater Barn. What was the initial germ of the idea, the inspiration to create it, and its vision and mission, which continues today?
Sure. So when I was a student, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was discovering shows that were obscure, like falsettos. And for the first time, I had seen a musical that I felt represented me, as a queer man growing up during the AIDS epidemic in the San Francisco Bay Area. I felt very like, wow, musicals can be about me. My grandfather had a blood transfusion and contracted HIV and passed it to my grandmother. And so this was a part, this is a big part of my family's history. And so to see a show like that changed me. I went to the Hart School of Music in Connecticut.
Hartford, yeah. Great school.
And one of the reasons I went there is because in 1991, Graziella Daniele had combined March of the Falsettos and Falsetto Land for the first time at the Hartford stage. And I wanted to be as close to Goodspeed and Hartford stage as I could. So there I did some new musicals. And one of the shows we did at Hart, that I saw, was a show called I Married Wyatt Earp. Before I knew anything about it, I thought this is the stupidest idea for a musical, the Wild West and Wyatt Earp. But the show is about the Jewish wife of Wyatt Earp and the women of the American West. It's an entirely all-women musical. And I could relate to the adventure and this feeling of wanting to get out of your hometown and finding love and success in the arts. And just so people know, that's why Wyatt Earp is buried in a Jewish cemetery in Colma, California. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that show grew. It was part of the impetus to create the company. One of its writers, Sheila Ray, became our board president and is now our board president emeritus. Graziella Daniele directed a reading of it with Tova Feldshuh and Cass Morgan. And then we produced it off Broadway with Carolyn McNeely and Heather McRae in 2011 at 59 East 59th Street Theaters. And now the show is called The Belle of Tombstone, and we hope to record it, which I'll talk more about later when we talk about Theater Barn Records. So it was this need to tell stories that were untold, that were going to shift the culture of our society, and that could have real impact, and that might even have a cause related to it. And usually our projects converge at the intersection of art and policy.
That's fantastic. So what were those early days like when you guys were getting it off the ground and really trying to get the word out about the uniqueness of what the New York Theater Barn has to offer?
Early on, it was really just a need to keep pumping out material like this. And so because of it, one of our programs that just turned 14 and has grown in the last year because of a lot of the work that Jen's done is called our New Work Series. And that's one of our 3 core programs. And the way that was born was we launched in April of 2007 at the Darryl Roth Theater. We did this concert of songs from new musicals, and we had rolling cabarets in the cabaret space called the D Lounge downstairs with Katie Thompson and Alicia Umphris. And it was thrilling. And the people at Darryl Roth Theatricals were really, really excited about what was happening. And so we continued to do it every single month for almost 8 to 9 years. In the past year, we have made this entirely virtual, which has been absolutely incredible. We've done 36 installments since March. We have done 76 new musicals, lifted up the work of 127 writers, and have supported over 400 artists. It's been great.
That's absolutely amazing. That's fantastic. Jen, how did you get involved and become part of the equation with this fantastic effort that the Theater Barn has?
Yeah, so I have been with Theater Barn now for about 1.5 years. One of our other staff members is a really brilliant person named Sam Strum, and he is our line producer when we are in person. And I went to a reading of a Theater Barn project and was like, I really like the work you're doing. And, I specialize in new musicals. So can you connect me with Joe Barros? And he did. And I started with the company as a line producer. And then I think like a month later, he's like, I need a new associate artistic director. And I think you'd be perfect for this. And I'm like, sure, why not? So it kind of, happened really, really fast. And I've loved working for New York Theater Barn. And like Joe said, this pandemic has changed the stratosphere of how our company does everything. Before this pandemic, we did our New Work Series that, like Joe said, is turning 14 this year. And before the pandemic, we did probably a new work series every other month. And at that point, it was very different. It was, I call it BC times, before COVID. And at that point, the new work series, it was 2 shows, and each show got about 35 minutes of time. And it was like almost a concert. They could have speech, they could have songs, they could have just songs. It was however they wanted to use the time. And then this pandemic happened, and, I had to make these heartbreaking calls to artists saying, your new work series is canceled. Everything we just planned and cast for you is canceled. And it's one of the hardest things I've had to do as a producer, to tell people basically that what you worked for isn't happening. And, so this was very early times. And, Joe and I said, we have to do something, but what is that something? And StreamYard, which you're on right now, that we use all the time, was just becoming a thing that the theater community was starting to use. And we said, let's take our programming, let's do it differently. We never talked to writers at all in our series before this pandemic. It was just straight like a concert, basically. And, we said, let's do 2 songs of 2 different musicals. And we did it every week from the end of March to January. Now we do it every other week, but we said, let's do 2 songs per show, and let's have a conversation with the writers. And we say this all the time now. We have to talk to writers. We have to keep talking to writers when this pandemic is over, when we're back in person, because the perspective you get about a show when you have the writer's perspective, not just the songs and the story, is insane. It's so important. And the fact that we didn't do it until now is absurd. So it's something we want to keep doing. We want to keep celebrating writers. And I think we celebrated the song and the story, but, you want to hear the process of the show. And I think that's why our company has grown so much. We've grown because we've told the story in a different way.
So how do people actually get involved? People that are performers, people that maybe they're up and coming, how do they actually access the resources of the Theater Barn?
Well, we have a submission process on our website for our new work series, also for our Choreography Lab for choreographers at nytheaterbarn.org. Our Choreography Lab is another one of our core programs. It's the only platform we know of where choreographers and writers collaborate on movement for new musicals during incubation. And we're often presenting 2 musicals side by side, or 4 moments from one show. And in fact, in October, we did a hybrid lab where we presented a number from 2 new musicals, which had never been on their feet ever before, presented live from Broadway Dance Center with actual actors in real spaces masked. And we presented the numbers straight on from a camera, like proscenium style. And then we had a moving camera, which captured the energy of what it would be like in this digital hybrid medium.
And we also, always in the history of this lab, we've had, guest moderators that come and, you'll do the song the first time, they'll give feedback. And this time, for the first time, we had, instead of moderators, we had mentors that were prolific members of the theater community. So we had Joshua Bergas, the Broadway choreographer and director, mentor one show. And we had Maria Torres, who's an amazing director and choreographer as well. And she mentored the other show. And it's something we're going to keep doing because it's so beneficial to have that perspective as a new choreographer.
That is fantastic.
I was just going to say, we're also, incredibly approachable. People reach out to us all the time that we've never met. And a lot of people are recommended to us from writers that we love. It's really a vibrant community.
That is really absolutely amazing. So this has really, I would say, it sounds like it has exceeded perhaps your expectations in a positive way.
I think we never knew, who knew in March what was going to happen with anything. I mean, we never thought we would be in this whole thing at this point still.
Well, and like Jen said earlier, the focus has been on what we can do versus what we can't. And right before the pandemic, I had been involved with a musical called Frankie the Musical, which we actually ended up presenting in our New Work series. And it was written then by 16-year-old Elise Mara. She's now 17. She's from Michigan. And it's an extraordinary piece that's based on a true story about a queer teen who ends up with a serious medical issue. And it sort of impels the revival of her dreams and brings her entire family together. But what was exciting is we got to go into a recording studio with Tony nominee Caitlin Kinnunen from The Prom, Jason Goodell, Ali Trim, and all these amazing Broadway performers. And the amount of traffic that came to this album when it was released in the summer was really, really incredible. So we started to think, what if we didn't do like all these readings and all these workshops and all these shows, but we focused on our core programming, did one developmental production a year, and then invested our energy in cast albums. So we took a leap of faith, and we started talking to Van Dien at Broadway Records, and we ultimately very quickly created Theater Barn Records, which is a new imprint of Broadway Records and dedicated to new musicals and development. And what we've come to discover is that in this critical digital age that we now live in, concept albums of new musicals and development are really the fastest and most lucrative ways that writers can be noticed, supported, and advanced while their shows are in development. So we got to launch our first album, which is called Willow. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard Cast Album charts. It has millions of streams on Spotify and iTunes, and it's one of, last they told me, 13 interlocking musicals in a universe called Averno. The second album has been released called Over and Out. Another one is forthcoming called Bitter Summer. And it's written by TikTok stars Morgan Smith, who's 20 years old, August Greenwood, who's 16, and Nala Palmer, who I believe is 15. And Sushi Sauchi is the writer of the other. They all met through TikTok, and they've created this whole TikTok community, and we're now a part of it.
It's amazing. I know it's become incredible. TikTok. Jen, you're on it too?
No, I mean, I'm on it like a little bit, but I think I'm a little too old for it.
Yeah, I'm not on it yet, but everybody's telling me to get on it. I'm on everything else, but they're like, Jim, get on TikTok, do some TikTok videos.
You could have another panel with me about why I think TikTok's both good and bad for theater, but let's not do that tonight.
She just gave you a teaser for when they come back. Is Mindy related to you?
That's my mom.
Your mom. Hi. Nice to see you, Mindy. Welcome.
Hey, Mindy.
Frankie has so much love. Beautiful show.
I was going to say, I think something else about Theater Barn Records we're really excited about past Averno. We also are working on another project now called Wonder Boy, and it's about a trans superhero, and it's really inspiring. And I met the writer in an anti-racist training Zoom breakout room, which is the most 2020 story.
Yeah.
But we're working with them now, and it's giving voice to trans writers and trans stories in a way that I think they've been underrepresented right now. So we just got a grant to work on a 4-track EP with that writer. We got them to work with an orchestrator now. They're going to work on a song a week for the next month. And it's a really exciting time, I think, for new work.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So how many productions would you say you guys are involved in on a yearly basis? It sounds like there's multiple layers and multiple things happening within the organization.
Well, like on a normal time or like during the pandemics? I think that's twofold.
Yeah, there's the new way we're saying it is BC. It used to be before Christ, but now it's before COVID.
I mean, I think in a normal time, you know, I was saying before, we did a new work series in person about every other month, maybe every 3 months, if not every other month. So maybe we probably had about, maybe 8 new work series a year in a normal time. And then we had about 4 choreography labs plus any other special programming. And now we've done, since March alone, we've done 76 new musicals in our new work series, over 36 broadcasts. We've spotlighted the work of 127 writers and focused over 400 artists. So, I mean, I think we've made a joke that when we're back in person, we have enough shows to have in person for our new work series for about like 7 years.
That's great, huh?
So in addition to our new work series and our choreography lab, our other special projects come from residencies, and some of those actually have developmental productions, which rehearse for 2 weeks and then are presented for a week with mainly fully realized elements. In fact, our last developmental production was, $150,000 production. But what we're learning is that we can do a lot of these different elements at the same time. So another new musical that we're working on in addition to Wonder Boy is called Sueños, which means dreams in Spanish. And it's about 3 generations of a Mexican-American family, their pursuit of the American dream. And it's been in our new work series in the real world, BC, before COVID. and then also in the virtual New Work series a few months ago. And then it was in the hybrid version of the Choreography Lab in October, where we did a number for the very first time on its feet. So now we're dedicated to creating an 8-track album. And in preparation for that, we want to produce a workshop where we bring actors into a space to workshop those 8 songs. We film the process, and then we can share that process and have a conversation with the writers, with a global audience. So, and working towards an album. So we're working towards the album, we're employing artists, we're working on the show, and we're further educating and connecting with our community about what it is to incubate and develop a new work.
That is fantastic. It's very exciting, huh?
Yeah, and I think another thing we're doing during this time, like you said in our intro, we're an anti-racist theater company. So while we have many programs with theater, we also think about that social reckoning and social justice. And one of the big things we've done that we're very proud about during this time is we've had roundtable discussions with members of our community, basically talking about the issues at hand, talking about anti-racism, talking about how we can be a better theater community as we continue to get back, to normal. I don't know what normal is, but a new normal. We had a panel back in October. We had Daniel J. Watts on this panel. We had Stephanie Ibarra. Who else, Joe? Help me. We had
Jerry Mitchell, Daniel J. Watts, Ken Davenport, Kirsten Childs, Byork Lee.
A lot of wonderful people. And we're doing another panel at the end of March now. It's all women in theater. It's being headed by Christine Toy Johnson, is going to moderate it. And we are just about to start confirming people now. We have Sammy Cannell, the amazing director, will be joining us. We have Elmorgan Lee, the amazing actress and trans activist. We have Maria Torres, who we mentioned before. So that's going to be at the end of March. It's the second to last Wednesday in March. So we hope you'll join us for that. And I think, we care about being a company that cares about social issues and also cares about the arts.
Which is really fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful mission, because the arts, as we know, are really, it's tough right now for so many places and so many artists, especially with the COVID situation, the economy, and, it's one of the last areas that probably is going to open because of the seating. They have to figure out the seating arrangements and everything else. There's been so many different the Actors Fund, and so many different things that are happening in support of all the different artists. And I think, whether there's a pandemic or not, I think the work that you guys are doing is, it's beautiful work. And it's a reflection of each of you and the team of people that are around you that really want to give back. I've always been that way in my work in television, radio, and stage and all. And even with this show, I think when we all come together and there's empathy and compassion and kindness and creativity and collaboration and inspiration, some really extraordinary things can come, and unification. Everybody should be welcome to the table. All ideas, let's throw them out there. We might not always get everything we want, but at least we've built something that we all will be proud of and enjoy. And it really sounds like what you've done here with the Theater Barn reflects that.
Yeah, and I think our panel series is actually called A Seat at the Table, and it's a mantra that we practice with everything we do in the company. We think about why I read all the submissions we get of new shows, and I think about why should this artist have a seat at the table? It's a time of reckoning. It's a time of growth.
Well, and I think we're excited about every new email that comes across our desks. We don't see it as a daunting thing. It's our lives. It's what we really love. Yeah. By the way, you also... you were talking about support, and speaking of support, I just saw one of our board members say hello, Robin Gorman Newman.
Robin, yeah, she put us all together. She's amazing.
I also saw Adam Ray Siegel is also on the chat.
Yeah,
so we literally wouldn't be where we are right now without our board, who have helped us basically live our dreams over the past few months. They've made space for us, and in doing so, we've been able to make space for so many artists.
Yeah, and I don't take what I do lightly. We are gatekeepers, and we are part of change. That our company, I don't know as much as other communities, but our theater community is in a time of change that we needed so badly before this pandemic. And I think as a gatekeeper, we're part of making that change happen, and it's something that we feel honored to do. And we're inspired by the way artists are taking this change and writing and putting out their work in the way they are right now.
And Robin had approached me a couple of weeks ago and said, gee, is there any opportunity of having you guys in the Theater Barn come on the show, our entertainment lifestyle talk show series? And I said, absolutely, Robin, let's see what we can, do and pick a date and bring you guys on so we can not only remind people who may be familiar with the work of the Theater Barn, but also introduce a whole new audience of people, not even just in the New York area, but across the country, other countries, to this really amazing facility. So I'm very glad that we were able to put this all together and have you guys join us.
Robin's amazing. She's a love coach. She's a writer. We love her. She's a producer.
Yep, and one of her books is being turned into a musical.
Really, really cool. Now we have some videos here of some really, really cool material, you guys in action. Is there a particular one that you would like the audience to see, or Loverty viewers around the world? And oh, by the way, you've already been inducted into Loverty Hall of Fame. Several of our viewer comments have said, Jen is a Loverty, Joe is a Loverty. So like I say to all the guests, there's Oscars, Tonys, Tellys, Grammys, Peabodys, Tonys. But you get a Loverty. Your feet are tingling, aren't they?
Thrilled to be Loverties. I would say if we had to choose two, I'm going to read Jen's mind, and then she can correct me. I would probably say the opening video and our recap of A Walk on the Moon, so that we can give you a little idea of how we open our live shows, and you can also see some of the energy and the footage of our shows. And also, A Walk on the Moon is one of our new work series, and it's a small cut of what this long presentation is. It just gives you a taste of it. And A Walk on the Moon is a show that Jen brought us, by Paul Scott Goodman, Pamela Gray, based on Pam's incredible film. And that's why I want to show you those. What about you, Jen?
You did read my mind, like you always do. I figured we could do those both. I mean, we could stop in between and talk about each. And we'd love to show the Choreography Lab as well, depending on where we go with things. But those are two great ones to start with. Yeah,
we have some really, really nice ones here. And it's going to really give our Loverty viewers a good feeling of some of the cool things that go on there at the New York Theater Barn. Joe and Jen are here from the Theater Barn, our gracious guests, and here's a little preview of some of the work they do. Enjoy, and we'll be back with our special guests on the Jim Masters Show Live in just a moment. Enjoy. Very cool. Very cool. Nice, short and sweet. Love it.
Really. Yeah, and that just gives our viewers a taste of what they're about to see. And it's excerpts from our live series, from virtual. It has a little bit of a slice of everything.
Perfect. Really, really nice. So we want to go to the next one, right? Which is a walk. Yeah.
Yes. And are you familiar with the movie it's based on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a movie, and it's about a housewife that decides she wants to kind of go outside her comfort zone, and she meets a man and begins an affair. It takes place in the 60s during Woodstock.
Cool stuff. Let's take a look at that, everybody, and enjoy.
Somebody crack that mirror. That woman isn't me. Somebody slam that door and throw away the key. She better snap awake. She's making a big mistake.
I spent all my summer in the Catskills at these bungalow colonies, and there were two inspirations. One was that so many people didn't know about the bungalow colony world. So I wanted to show that world, and I had a very distinct memory, which I think is the fulcrum of our show. I was in the swimming pool with the bubbies playing mahjong and the moms playing cards, and through the chain link fence, I saw the hippies walking to the Woodstock Festival. And I wanted to throw myself through that fence. I was literally on the wrong side of history.
I need a cigarette, which I need 3 or 4. A voice keeps whispering no, a voice keeps shouting more. For some boiling hot, then I'm freezing cold. For some a woman, then I'm 17 years old.
She's got a teenage daughter living in the summer of '69 who is part of, in her mind, the revolution. And here's this working class Jewish housewife who is separated from that world completely. And gradually, through the influence, she wants to get on the other side of the fence.
Woodstock's calling out to me. A couple more miles and I'll be free. I feel a part of me might die if I don't try to touch the sky.
So right when COVID happened, we were scheduled to do an actual recording session with Jackie. And we got shut down. So a few weeks after COVID started, several of my musician friends just kind of volunteered their time and sent me, tracks of themselves playing. And I put it together just so our entire team at George Street could sort of hear what the show was going to sound like.
It's about love and about music and about change, about turmoil, all the things that we're thinking about now, I think we were thinking about then.
I loved taking Paul's song and then being inspired by like Jefferson Airplane or Paul Butterfield and the Byrds and Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. And so I've been working with Dylan and taking all these songs and say, how do they fit into this period?
History not only repeats itself, but as activists, we just have to keep on being active. And the world will catch up with us one day. Yes, it's about a Jewish woman in the bungalow colonies on the other side of the fence. And it's also about what's happening now.
Look at my life, I'm reeling. Listen to my heartbeat. I just can't seem to keep the ground beneath my feet.
Very nice, very nice.
Well, that's a taste of what we do. Our amazing video actor Hector made it, and he makes all of our videos every week.
Very nice. Great voice, Mona says, one of our viewers. And Sherry Lee, love the film. Looks like a great segment. What a bunch of talented people from Merlin watching in Ontario. Mindy says, I'm thrilled to join all the lovelies. I'm hooked.
There she is.
Terrific. Thank you, Mindy. Cassandra Ross, I love the intro. Mary Bishop in Florida says, fantastic. Really, really nice. And also, again, if people do want to give and participate, there we have the website, newyorktheaterbarn.org/give. And are you very dependent on, everyday people giving as much as they can to keep it going?
Absolutely. Every little bit counts. And we're celebrating our 14th anniversary this year. So we're about to do a 14 campaign, but 14 means 14 cents, $14, $14 million, 14.
I like 14 million.
14 million? That's
or
funny.
14 trillion if you're going to,
we also accept matching gifts. So you could do a matching gift that makes 14 trillion if enough of your coworkers get together, maybe.
The matching gifts. Yes. Working with public television. I know what matching gifts are all about. Absolutely. And that could be great. Yeah. Yeah. Do you get, are there underwriters too? Corporate support and underwriters?
We do. And we also receive, we write and receive a lot of grants.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is a whole art form unto itself for sure. Which video would you like to go to next? Do we have artists? Thank you. 1 and 2.
Let's do Our New Town, because I think that's a very good, those are two different shows we've had on our new work series. And, A Walk on the Moon is they're both shows that have a lot of depth in them, but A Walk on the Moon is kind of a very light show. And Our New Town is pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, Our New Town is actually a response play to Our Town, the incredible and iconic Thornton Wilder play. Our New Town is about a college that is presenting Our Town, the play, and the most horrific school shooting in history happens at this college. So surviving members of Thornton Wilder's Our Town, the play, go throughout the community collecting stories, and they go to put on basically a vigil in remembrance of those people, and that vigil is disrupted. And so the musical is that experience. And we also had theater historian Howard Sherman on to talk about his new book about Our Town called Another Day's Begun. And you'll see him here in the conversation.
And I think what's so exciting about this show is, the last one you saw just was the brilliant, Wicked alum Jackie Burns singing the 2 songs. But this one, we had about 10 or 12 different students from Wagner College who did the first production of the show. And it's so cool with our series because you could have one singer sing a song. You could have edited in that it's 2 people singing from their separate homes. You could have 10 people do a big ensemble number this way. Limitation is creation in every way possible here.
All right. That's what you call a really good intro to this video. All right, here we go.
We pray like candles and say never, never again. Then we sleep, then we play, fight new battles anyway. It happens again and again. Just background until it's our time. This is our line in the...
What was tragedy that would befall a young person at the turn of the 20th century? Well, for a young woman, it was to die in childbirth. Now, what is one of the leading causes of death of young people in this country? Gun violence. So indeed, there's an incredible parallel, incredibly sad parallel.
And when we had our son Wilder, he was in bed one night sleeping, and we were reading the news, and there was another shooting that had happened. And that really sparked something in us. And we thought, how can we be proactive about this? Because we don't want our son growing up in this kind of environment. We want this to change. So what can we do as artists? What's our responsibility and stuff? So I wrote down all these shootings and all the dates. And the first thing I wrote down was Columbine in '99. And Gabriel sort of took that and ran with it. And that is one of the first lyrics. That's the first lyric of the songs.
Columbine in '99. I'm 2 years old at the time. What a way to start my life.
Vegas takes 58 more. Different day, same old score. But it can't be the same anymore.
And the thought was that, as Howard was describing Our Town as this celebration of life because life is so brief. Well, what would Wilder write today if he were living and he were trying to create something around Grover's Corners? He would have to acknowledge gun violence.
Connection, because I think another part of the music is the chemistry between these characters making music together. It's therapeutic, it's cathartic.
What Our Town does, what our new town does, is it summons.
They never really acknowledge who the shooter is or talk about the shooter or any of his family until this moment in the show. Losing a kid is every parent's worst nightmare, but having a child who becomes a killer, ...
Now I live in the fog of what you did. But all I see is my fair-haired little kid. I want to say you were not my son, but you are mine despite what you have done.
That's fantastic. Yeah, very moving, very touching too, huh?
That's a mother whose son ended up being a shooter, and it's what do you do? Do you still love your son after that? Are they still your son? How do you grapple with something like that?
And David Dabin wrote that with the husband and wife team that you saw there, and their son's name is Wilder after Thornton Wilder. And the director of that piece, Teresa McCarthy, is very well known on Broadway. She was in the original Broadway cast of Titanic as one of the Kates, First Daughter Suite, First Lady Suite, Queen of the Mist, And she's really a muse of Michael John LaChiusa and Andrew Lippa. Sorry, Adam Gettle and Michael John LaChiusa.
What did you say?
Now, there's something else too, video form that we have, and it's the Choreography Lab. Tell us about that. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it's I think we're in our 8th season now.
Yes.
I always have to remind myself, but it's the only platform we know of where choreographers and writers collaborate on movement for new musicals during incubation. And we think this is important because the old sort of joke is like, the choreographer starts choreographing the show after years of it being developed. And so you're like, the costumes are bad, fire the choreographer, or the choreography is bad, fire the costume designer. And the idea is that we need to bring these people on board earlier, even the designers. They could really, that they have an impression on what the show is going to be. And that's why we're bringing an orchestrator on board to work on the show called Wonder Boy, because we don't want to just like throw the orchestrations to an orchestrator. We want that person to work with the writer, and we want them to be brought over and really examined. So the Choreography Lab is thrilling. It's grown over the years, and it's really intended for about an intimate group of 40 people to be in a room. But in October, it became a global thing, and thousands of people have now seen it. So like Jen and I keep saying, limitation is creation.
And you finish.
You take one thing away from us and something new is born.
Yeah, and our lab before COVID and still now, our lab could be a lot of different things. Our amazing director of our lab, Avital Astaline, has a bunch of different forms of how she curates the lab. We have one lab where it could be the lab we did in October that you'll see a little footage of. It's basically you could take a show and it's one song from each show. That's one way to do it. We also do a lab where it's 3 to 4 songs from one show, and you have a different choreographer on each song, and you get the writer that way gets to see a feel of who could be working on their show. And then we do something called an open lab sometimes, where it's just, what are you working on? It could be anything. It could be something that wants to be a musical. It could be a piece that is just a response to something. It could be anything that a choreographer wants to work on. So I think, there are other organizations like Dance Break that do things for choreographers in a similar way that we do, but nothing that spans the way that we do. And I think that's why our program is so specific and so different and so necessary.
That's fantastic. Really, really fantastic. We just had a wonderful choreographer on the other night, Jeff Whiting. Do you know Jeff at all? Yeah, he's amazing. And we had Gary Flannery on too, another legend. Amazing people. I'll ask you guys too about when we come back, who are some of the mentors each of you have had, some of the people that have inspired you individually. We all have people that, in our respective careers that have inspired us. Maybe some folks you can think of. Let's take a look at the video, everybody. Thanks for all the great comments and all the enthusiasm. Keep posting away. And here's the Choreography Lab at the New York Theater Barn. Cool. Very, very cool. I love it. It gives people a really good sampling of some of it, huh? And some of the different styles. And it's amazing when you really see it condensed in a video form like that, isn't it?
Thank you to Hector, because that's his genius of putting that all together.
Yeah, did a really, really nice job. You know, when you got to edit it down, you have all this footage and you got to narrow it down. It can be very, very difficult. But they did it. They knocked it out of the park. We have another video here too. Did you want us to share the artists? Thank you.
Sure.
We have one or two. Do you want us? We could show both if you want. We have time for sure.
Well, they're both about a minute long, and they're, you know, just our artist thanking, and it's a lot of people we've worked with, so it's a nice span of what we do.
Which is really nice, right, to have that. Let's take a look at that, folks. Some of the thank yous coming in.
Having the support of New York Theater Barn's artistic community has been so nourishing and uplifting, especially now as our brick and mortar theaters remain on hiatus. And I've been so grateful to have a place to gather and share our work.
And I just want to say that New York Theater Barn is very special. It has several different programs that help development of musicals.
They're looking out for theater. They're looking out for new shows. They're looking out for new artists and new creators. That's what we need.
That without places like New York Theater Barn, people like me don't really have the opportunity to workshop our work and don't have an opportunity to make it better.
So it's very important that we are all supporting organizations doing the work that New York Theater Barn is doing right now.
So I hope you are very generous with giving to Theater Barn, and they've been so generous to generations now of writers.
I hope you will give to them this holiday season, and I hope you have a great holiday.
Very nice. And let's slide into the second one that we have right now.
New York Theater Barn gave me a vital platform for showcase and development at an early point in my career. And then they continue to invite me back, simply asking, hey, what's new? I'm very grateful to New York Theater Barn for their ongoing efforts to support artists and development.
I was fortunate enough to work on a musical there, and we did a reading, and we had never heard it before. And what we learned from that reading and the notes we got from Joe were invaluable. And thank God for the New York Theater Barn.
New York Theater Barn's New Work series was our first creative endeavor of the pandemic and our first experience with virtual theater. It set the bar for live stream presentations, not just for us, but for new musical theater development across the country and the world.
You should support places and organizations like the New York Theater Barn because there's really nothing like it in the country. I mean, they incubate new musicals and discover new emerging writers and focus on playwrights of color. It's pretty incredible, and I'm so honored to be a part of the New York Theater Barn family.
I urge you to donate and support them because they're a great theater company, and I expect to be able to see more from them soon. So congratulations to New York Theater Barn on what you do, and don't forget, people, donate to them.
Really, really cool. Well done. Well done. And some really great comments coming in as well from our lovely viewers watching. Of course, dear friend, June Rachelson Aspa, stopping hi to say, Theater Barn is fantastic. I don't know if you guys know June. She's a brilliant Broadway lyricist. She's fantastic. Dear friend of ours. Juanita. She's amazing, isn't she? And Juanita in South Africa saying fantastic. Loving all the clips. Hearts and claps from Ann Wozniak and Kathleen Walker, and wonderful from Mary Bishop and Merlin in Canada. Claps and hearts and all kinds of emojis. Bravo from Mindy, of course. And it's really nice to see this. And Merlin also has said that she can see how passionate you guys are about the projects. Amelia saying this is exceptional, much respect. Really, really cool. And it's nice when you get the feedback from people too, because sometimes, we can all get immersed in the day to day that we have to do to sort of make all this magic happen. But when you have a moment and people come up to you or they send a note or email or whatever, and they say, wow, I just want to let you know that I love what you do. And it's inspired me to take things on in my own life, and perhaps maybe made them feel good that day. They weren't having a good day, and maybe you inspired them, put a smile on their faces, or made them perhaps think about different ways of living and doing things in life, which again is a beautiful thing. I asked you guys individually too about others that have inspired you, maybe mentored you, that you've sort of looked up individually to in the industry. I'll start with you, Jen. Who are some folks that you've always admired?
Yeah, so my main mentor, who's still my mentor to this day, is Jennifer Ashley Tepper. If you know who that is, she's the author of the Untold Stories of Broadway book series, which is about to have its 4th publication of the series. And she is a theater producer. She is a writer. She is an administrator. She is someone who cares about the art in a way that is different and special. And, one thing that I love about her, that I've loved since before she was even my mentor, is that she knows how to be a fan of the theater while also still being a staff member of theater and someone who works in the theater. And she is someone that's been my mentor now since I got out of college for about 8 years now, and has given me so many opportunities and been there for me when I needed it most, and said, hey, come work at 54 Below. Hey, come co-produce this off-Broadway show. Come do this, come do that. So I think having someone like that, and I'm now like that for younger people too. And I think I'm like that because of how she treated me when I just was starting out. So I think having that person who kind of always has your back is so important. And I think older people as well, Daryl Roth is someone I've looked up to for years. And I think what's so special about her is she wasn't a theater producer right away. She had her life. She raised her kids like Jordan Roth and said, I want to be a theater producer now, and did what she wanted and didn't take no. And now is the Daryl Roth who, we did our new work series and when the company first started. So she's a megawatts. Also Margot Lyon, rest in peace, who passed away about a year ago, is, another, just like Daryl, is another Jewish woman of the theater who didn't take no, produced Hairspray, produced so many amazing shows. And I think I look up to people most who don't do the normal thing. Hairspray is a show that when it was produced back in, the early mid 2000s was a scary show, show about, was a movie first, but a show about, racism and segregation. Do we really want to do that now? But no, she did it. And, Daryl did that too with shows like Indecent and shows like Kiki Boots, the idea of having drag queens on stage. So I gravitate towards people who don't play it by the book, who don't say no, and they do what they want, and they change the theater that way.
How about you, Joe?
So I mentioned Falsettos earlier. It's my favorite musical. William Finn is a hero to me. Falsettos is the only musical really to deal with the AIDS crisis, and it only indirectly does so. But he really is a hero to me. His mini opera play musicals are just extraordinary. The director choreographer Graziella Danielle, who has also realized many of Bill's pieces, is also a real hero to me. She directed and choreographed the original production of Once on This Island, which is also a favorite of mine as well. Lauren Lettero and Eric Schaefer are people that I've been an associate to many, many times. Eric on Gigi and workshops of King Kong, and he's the former artistic director at DC Signature Theater, but he really taught me to think outside of the box and at the big picture. Lauren is the choreographer of Waitress, and I worked with her on 3 productions of a show called A Taste of Things to Come, all women, and she really trusted me. She told me, you work on new work. I need you. I've never been a director. And she really empowered me. She made me feel like I had a real reason for being there. And I got to learn a lot about the 50s and 60s, the 1950s and 60s, and this incredible story about 4 women in the kitchen in the 50s and how their lives changed in the kitchen. Also, Jeff Calhoun, who you saw in the video earlier, he's a Broadway director and choreographer and former actor. He's one of my heroes. I grew up loving his work. And now I'm working with him on a show called Breathe, Portraits of a Pandemic. Piece written in the pandemic, about the pandemic, with 5 different musical theater writing teams, 5 different directors. It's very exciting. Sony's going to be recording an album over the next month. We're filming basically a reading concert of it at the 92nd Street Y with a lot of starry performers. I can't say who they are yet because the press release hasn't gone out. Almost knocked over my entire space here.
Living room studio.
And lastly, another hero of mine is Ryan White, who is the teenage hemophiliac who contracted AIDS in the 80s and became the poster child for AIDS. As a kid growing up, again, with this whole experience, there was so much hope about how he was ostracized for just being who he was. And I just wanted to say that I'm developing a musical about Ryan White with an entire cast of children telling the story from the point of view of children. And I got to workshop that with 23 kids from around the world last month in a virtual presentation.
So what was that like? That must have been amazing.
It was awesome. And in fact, it's actually there. It's on YouTube. It's called To Whom It May Concern and Dear Ryan. It's a sequence from the show, and it explores the letters to Ryan White. Over 6,000 letters to Ryan White from the 1980s are on display at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis. And what people don't know is Ryan White's made-for-TV movie changed America and the world's perception of what AIDS and HIV was. You know, and I think the story of Ryan White feels frighteningly relevant in the time of a global pandemic.
Well, and you and I were having this conversation. You know, Ryan White was something that in the 80s and 90s was very normal to learn about in school. When you learned about the AIDS crisis, you know, I learned about it. And, you know, I said to Joe, I said, you know, do your kids even know who Ryan White is? And he said, no, they don't. It's not something you hear about anymore. And it's kind of sad because I think his story is really important.
It really is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. And oftentimes people, you know, sometimes forget certain stories because we're in this news cycle where major news happens and then 6 seconds later, breaking news, the next thing is breaking, the next thing is breaking. And taking time to really tell stories and to have people sort of reflect and remember is also really important, isn't it?
Yeah, the news is really scary, you know. You know, today we lost Christopher Plummer. You know, we lost Cloris Leachman the day before. You know,
Cicely Tyson.
Someone literally just texted me, Christopher Plummer died just now. I mean, you know, we can't lose any more, you know, Hollywood greats. Like, you know, Mel Brooks is another one of my favorite people that I look up to, and like, knock on wood, kind of her. We can't lose him too. I'm developing a review about him.
And I want Carol Burnett to stay with us.
So many. It's only
She's
February.
amazing.
It's so scary.
Yeah, no, right. Exactly. Right. Short period of time. Hank Aaron. I mean, a lot of legends. So coming out of, fingers, toes crossed, COVID, as things slowly start to move in that direction, what are some other exciting things that you guys see on the horizon for the New York Theater Barn? Places where you'd like to take it, levels that you want to reach with it that maybe you didn't even think of before, but there's just sort of going in that direction?
Well, you know, we'd love to see, we'd love to film more shows. We'd love to have the chance to do it with shows the way that we talked about Wonder Boy and Sueños, how we can kill so many birds with one stone. It's a strange analogy, but we can do so much. Right now, it feels like we can do so much with very little. We also have another show that we really want to lift up called Borders. I'll let Jen talk a little bit about that.
I was going to talk about it if you didn't. So Borders is a show that the company has been a part of now for about 2 years. I saw a reading of it last February. It was probably one of my last readings before the pandemic happened, which is so crazy to think now. But it takes place in 2003 during the Second Intifada in the Middle East. And it's about an Israeli man and a Palestinian man who meet at a border checkpoint, and they're both gay and they fall in love. And it's called, you know, we were saying today in a meeting, it's almost like Romeo and Juliet of the Middle East in 2003. And it's this forbidden romance. And I think the big moral of the show is we're not as different as we think we are. And we all share the same love at the end of the day. And it's a beautiful score with folk, with pop, and it's a story that needs to be told. And I think, as it was almost 20 years ago when the story took place, but it can't be far, it's not that far from the truth still. It's still very, very relevant. So I think that's a show we want to see in a theater. And some stories work on the digital platform, and this show does too to some respects, but also it's about the space we take up, and it's about love, and that's a show we want to see in the same room together. And I think as much as we have this digital void right now, it's never going to fill what we had before. I think it's great for now, but the idea of being in a dark room together and experiencing the same moment for 122 hours together, I think that's magical. And live theater is never going to be something we don't want to have again.
I want to make a note that today I said to Jen that the Borders, which is based on the film The Bubble, is the queer Israeli Romeo and Juliet, and it's written by Ari Lawton Simon and Janine McGuire. Ari Lawton Simon and Janine McGuire.
Wonderful. What are some other projects that you guys are thinking about tackling? The projects seem to have, like you say, social issues are addressed, and just concerns about life. I mean, allowing us to have room to grow and to maybe look at life from different non-closed vantage points. And I think it's really interesting because what's going on in our society right now, and sort of these revelations and sort of this societal reflection and flip is so apropos and perfect for a place like the Theater Barn, because you're already established. You've already been talking about these things, presenting these productions that touch upon these various issues that are now newsworthy, breaking news. And you guys have been doing this for quite some time, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, another project we're working on right now is a show called Freedom Riders, and it's written by Taryn Gray and Richard, what's his last name?
Richard Allen.
Richard Allen. And it takes place during the Freedom Riders protest, where basically it was, during racism, and they rode buses and tried to break anti-racism. And it's the 60th anniversary of the Freedom Riders protests and rides this year. So we have a special version of our programming later this month where we're going to have the writers of that show. And that show was the NYMF Best of Fest about, 6 whatnot years ago. It's very popular still. It's very relevant. We're going to have hopefully a Freedom Rider that was actually a real Freedom Rider join us. We're going to have performances from cast members of the show. So that's a show we're passionate about. We hope to record with Theater Run Records eventually.
How about you guys as performers as well? Do you like to dabble in that area, being performers as much as the behind the scenes team that's making these things happen?
I was a performer until I got to college, and then, realized theater admin is what I want to do. So, and that, that I could get on a soapbox about this for hours, but I mean, I think so many people want to be an actor first and foremost when they're in high school and early college, even because they don't know anything else. They know there's acting, they know there's stage managing, they know there's directing if they're lucky, and they don't know about anything else. They don't know you could be a dramaturg. They don't know you could be a producer. They don't know you could be a lighting designer. And I think there's so many important parts of our business that we need all of you to be there for as well.
I think that anybody in the theater should train as an actor at some point. Jen and I both started out that way, and I think I wouldn't be the director or the curator or the producer or anything that I am without understanding what it means to be an actor. And it's an extraordinary amount of work. It's a lot to be asked of. And I think what most actors actually forget, because I love to work with actors, is that nobody's coming to see you become Hamlet. Nobody's coming to see you become Elphaba. We are, but we're coming to see you. We're coming to see the experience that you bring to it. So the more personal and authentic you can be, the more exciting and thrilling it is going to be for us to see you dive deeper into the character as you.
Yeah, and I have so much respect for all of my friends that are actors. It's something that I could never do. And they say the same thing. I could never do what you do. And I said, that's why we do what we do.
Exactly. What would you say to somebody? I've asked this question of some guests who have been coming through our series here, who are in the performance end of things and the arts. Somebody watching right now live, or they watch this on demand later, and they're considering getting their feet wet in the arts, specifically as the performer, as the talent, or even behind the scenes as well. any recommendations, any thoughts? I mean, I've heard a myriad of different things from different people. I know, working in this area as well, that it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and hours, rejection, sacrifice, all those things. And you really, really, really have to be all in. Once you go in, you have to be all in and be willing to be flexible and collaborate and pivot and all the things that you have to do, and bring your A game as much as you can. Because a couple of guests have said things like, well, gee, if the person is 50% about going in and the other 50% is leaning towards being an accountant, go with being the accountant. You have to really love it, and you have to really realize all the things that come with it. It isn't just always the glamour, the glitz, the accolades. There's a lot of things that you have to do for any of that to even come to fruition. What would you say to somebody watching who is considering stepping into these fields of endeavor?
I mean, you go first.
I was going to say, if you discover you don't love it, run for the hills. If you love it, immerse your life in it. It's going to become a practice. And also, life is about intention. What is your intention? Think about your intention through the theater and what it is that you love. And ultimately, if it's your dream, it's your dream. It's a lyric from Merrily. Dreams don't die, so keep an eye on your dreams. And ultimately make some goals and manifest them, because goals are dreams with deadlines. That's what I tell myself. That's what I tell my students. And ultimately choose success. Choose success, because failure is not choosing.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and so did you, Jem. I mean, in general, it's everything you said. You're going to have 1,000 no's before that yes, and that's both as an actor, as a writer, as a producer, as a stage manager, as everything. And it's true. I've always been told from, middle and high school, because I was that weird kid that if you asked them in elementary school what they wanted to do, I would have said working in theater. I would have said like being an actor, but I still, I would have said theater. And, I was always told then and there, only do this if there's nothing else you want to do more. And I tell kids I mentor this all the time, because it's the truth. It's true. If you want to be an accountant more than you want to be a theater person, go be the accountant. And we need accountants too. But I mean, I can't see myself doing anything else. And I think this pandemic has been a big test of people that were in this business and, are leaving for any reason or another. And it's okay if they are. But, I think if you're a theater person, and even in this pandemic, you still want to be a theater person, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And this is a business about passion. It's a business about creativity. It's a business about pivoting. And it's about never doing the same thing twice.
Right, exactly. That's right. And that's exactly what happens oftentimes. You end up not doing the same thing twice, because you're going to move on to the next thing that's calling. The other thing too we talked about on this show is some people get very, very locked into and hung up on, and we all strive for it, but they strive for perfection. And there really is no such thing as perfection. And so what I've told some colleagues, friends, and including myself, instead of saying it's got to be perfect and beating yourself up with perfect, maybe adjusting the wording. Just by adjusting the wording, it could be much lighter for you and more liberating and freeing. Still, you're going for the brass ring. And that's to say, instead of it being perfect, it's got to be perfect. I'm striving for perfection. You're striving for excellence. And the excellence is like the perfection, but it leaves you room to grow and to breathe by saying, I'm striving, when I go out there and do that thing, I'm striving for excellence. Striving for perfect really becomes very claustrophobic and limiting for people. If you found that to be the case as well?
Yeah, I have.
Really, you're thinking about that one, huh?
I agree. I have as well.
Yeah. Personally, as much as other people as well, right? So the saying striving for excellence, I think, is a little bit more of a softer way to, and it's just more liberating and freeing than saying perfect, because there really isn't.
Well, I think it's striving for excellence, but also striving for being different. I think, theater, there is a mold, there's an ingenue, there's a leading man, there's, supporting actor, but also there's being you. And I think that's what gets you through this business, because you are different and you have something to bring to the table.
Exactly. You agree with that, Joe?
Totally. I think rules are meant to be broken. And that's what I tell my students all the time and actors that I work with, be yourself. And it just comes back to making your work personal, authentic to you. Because if it's so personal to you to the point where it feels like nobody could possibly understand what you feel,
right?
Suddenly it becomes incredibly universal.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
And
So
this COVID time, I think, has allowed us all a moment to step outside of ourselves and evaluate and look at what our lives are and appreciate what's important.
Yeah, and I think, before this pandemic, things were very much to a T in ways where they're not going to be anymore. And that casting breakdown is going to change, and the actors you want to see for roles are going to change, and the stories we want to tell are changing.
Exactly. I've often said that with what's gone on in the last many months, I think maybe there was a meeting of the minds or the energy forces of a divine Mother Nature and planet Earth coming together and saying, all right, everybody stop, knock it off. Violence, hatred, division, not taking care of the planet, everything. I mean, school shootings and road rage and just all the stuff everybody was complaining about happening, but nothing was changing. So a divine Mother Nature, the earth, said, let's get together and stop, freeze, knock it off. And then threw a few big things at us: political confusion, societal upheaval, economic stoppage, and pandemic. Threw it all at us. And they did it in 2020, the start of a new decade, when things are usually hopeful and we just sort of expect we're going to sail into a new decade and it's going to be all beautiful. However, I think it was a real test to see if the best of the best would arise, the worst of the worst. And I think we've seen elements of all of the above. And I'm hoping that we sort of rise from the ashes of everything. And I said it multiple times on this show and even just to family and friends, colleagues, more empathetic, more loving, kinder, not divisive in the way that we are now. And instead of talking at, listening, and just really giving ourselves an opportunity to breathe, because this has been, in addition to everybody baking the bread and all the other things they've been cleaning the closets and maybe writing the book they've always wanted to write, or gardening in the yard like everybody's been doing. It's given us a really amazing time through all the horror, it's given us this amazing time to look at our lives and to say, okay, what have we done thus far? What do we want to do next? Or the next chapter in each of our lives. And some people are making major changes in careers, relationships, all kinds of different things as they sort of reevaluate, where they've been, because there's been this time to sort of breathe and just think and reflect. So, like you said, now that all of this has happened, and I don't want us to go back to normal. I want us to go to better, because normal prior to all of this was getting a little abnormal. So I'm hoping we achieve better. And I think with work like what you guys are doing, you've already got the passion, the enthusiasm, you've already got the heart and soul to do that. I try to do that in all the work I do professionally and just in life. I think you guys, any of us, would not be doing what we're doing if it was not truly a reflection of who we are inside as people. And that is shown in the work and the passion for it. And I think, Jen, that's you. Joe, that's you. The work that I'm doing, it's work that not only do we want to do, it's work we have to do, right? It's you have to do this work.
It's just who we are. And thank you for doing it. And honestly, we know how hard this is. We know how much work it is to be here every day like this. You show up, you do the work, and you're making magic here.
We can't go back to before. We can't. There's no way. Our industry will not exist if we don't do the work and change and renew.
Right. Exactly.
Robin says it's falling.
The calling,
Yes,
it is.
yeah. Robin says it's a calling. Thanks, Jim, very inspirational. Mindy, thank you very much. June, yes, spending time with family as well, which has been a blessing for the ones that we can. Other relatives, like going to Florida and places like that, we haven't been able to do. But so this is, it's beautiful work you guys are doing. And I really think that you're going to have a lot of success continued, because the more people discover what the work of the New York Theater Barn is about, the more they're going to want to participate. And I think it's just, how'd you come up with the name New York Theater Barn? That's kind of cool too.
Well, you know, the word barn, there are a lot of working parts. It's also sort of the grassroots place. It's the place where, you know, it's a communal house where all things are working together. But also David Rigler, who is one of the founders of the company, he and I worked at a summer stock, an iconic summer stock in New London, New Hampshire, called the New London Barn Playhouse. And so when we had all this material, including I Married Wyatt Earp, we thought, oh, why don't we call it the New York Theater Barn? And so there's this sort of Mickey and Judy piece that's like dropped into the middle of metropolitan New York City.
That's really, really cool. So again, if folks want to get involved, they want to learn more, we've got the website, which is the general website, newyorktheaterbarn.org. It has a listing of events and virtual and all kinds of different things you have coming up. And then if people want to give, and they can give at any level.
Yeah, they can give at any level. I mean, they could give $1, $1 million. We take everything. And I also dropped our social channel handles if you want to put those as well.
What are those? I don't think we have those.
They're in the private chat. I just gave them to you.
I would have to type them visually right now. So just
spew
them out.
Yeah, for me, it's at Jen Sandler. For Joe, it's B is for Barros. And us, it's New York Theater Barn. Simple as that.
Sherry asks, how old is the New York Theater Barn?
I think 14 this year.
14. So big 15 next year, huh?
We're gonna have Joe, you're gonna have a quinceanera next year?
I was going to say, you're going to have, is there going to be a cake?
Robin will jump out of the cake.
Robin will jump out of the cake. Robin, I want to be there for that. I'll do live team.
I'm going to read in Hebrew from a scroll.
Any words of inspiration for folks watching right now as we get ready to wrap from either one of you regarding the Theater Barn, regarding your work, and anything positive going forward?
Yeah, I just want to remind you that we make space for artists to dream about how extraordinary the world can be for all of us. And like we keep saying, there is so much opportunity right now in a time where it feels like there isn't. Limitation really is creation. So look inward, and really it's right in front of you.
Yeah, and I think don't stop creating. This isn't the time to not do what you need to do. This is the time to keep doing the work and doing even better.
Absolutely. Keep moving forward, even through the roughest of days. Just keep moving forward, as you guys certainly have. This has been wonderful. We chatted for an hour and a half already. It doesn't feel like that, does it? It's just having a nice conversation. And we toast you guys. Thanks for joining us on the Jim Masters Show live and gracing our presentation here. We cheers.
I have a water bottle.
Yeah, water. Hey. You don't just have a water bottle. Look how fancy that one is.
It's a frozen water bottle.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm a Disney nerd.
Ah, there you go. Cool. I love it.
And this is actually a musical that Transport produced called Normal, which is now called Pretty to the Bone, and is about a family who is affected by their daughter's anorexia.
Very nice. Very nice. And Cassandra says, feed two birds with one hand. And Anne says, thank you for an interesting evening and for the wonderful work that you are doing. And you can watch the YouTube Broadway on Demand for past content from New York Theater Barn. And keep on trucking, Jen and Joe. Wonderful what you are doing.
Thank you, Mary.
And Maureen says, I snuck home with the show playing on my phone. She works in the medical field as a nurse. And so she always tries to get home in time. She's on the West Coast. And
Lori, both of my parents are healthcare professionals. I salute you so much for what you're doing right now.
this has been an inspirational conversation. Thank you, Jim, Jen, Joe, for all you do. I wish you many years of continued success with your endeavors. Cheers from Mindy.
Mindy is a healthcare worker. Salute Mindy.
Salute, Mindy.
It's
Yeah.
true. Got the vaccine.
Get
the vaccine as soon as it's available to you.
I know they said like 30% of people are
We're
toying
finally at a number this week where more people are vaccinated than were tested positive for the pandemic, and it's small victories like that.
We're going in the right direction.
Going in the
Yeah.
right direction.
A couple of my
Yes,
family members are medical as well. Yes.
We're currently trying to convince Mindy and one of my parents to be on the next Newark series. So you might get to meet Mindy.
That's cool. That's cool.
He's probably laughing now that
And that's without Mork, right? No Mork.
No more. Just Mindy.
Oh, God, that was her joke growing up. She's probably blushing right now.
Mork, yeah.
People used to say to her when she was a teenager, "Where's Mork?" And she'd be like, "No thanks."
Love Robin Williams.
She is a healthcare worker, and her heart is in theater. It's true.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And
Robin.
good stuff. And Juanita, South Africa, interesting conversation. Thanks, Jen and Joe, for spending time with us and sharing your great work. Keep well. And Sherry Lee says, very excited to learn about you on the deep dive, similar in many ways. The Bethesda, Maryland-based Roundhouse Theater. I could see a partnership there.
Oh, the Roundhouse, I think, is in... Are there two Roundhouses? There's also... Oh, that's Red. Never mind. There's also the Red in New York.
Cassandra Ross says, thanks, everyone. Nanu, nanu. Mork. And that's what Mork used to say, I guess. Mindy would know that. All right, gang, you guys are the best. Continued success, best of luck, and you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you back. Keep me posted on some of the productions and upcoming events. And once, we're able to actually get together, I'd love to come see you guys in the city and break bread and tour the facility and really get a good flavor for it. I think we got a nice teaser tonight on the show with all the time we spent, but I'd love to actually come and see it and see you guys in action in person. That would be wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
It would be great. Absolutely. One more comment sliding in here. Yes. Good job. Thank you. Now we can sleep tonight.
Thank you, Shirley Lee.
That's it. Thanks, Shirley. It was a pleasure, gang. You guys are the best. You take care and you have a good night, okay? Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. You be well and stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye now. See ya. Wasn't that fantastic? And Christine says, thanks for the exceptional work you all do each day and for giving back. It was interesting to see the clips to have a better understanding of what goes on. A very uplifting show. Absolutely. It's been a bevy of uplifting shows all week. Wouldn't you say, Christine? Absolutely. And Francis says, good night. All the best, hoping it all opens up again soon. Absolutely. I agree there too. You guys were terrific. I just want to remind you too, that we've got amazing guests coming up that are extraordinary. Tomorrow, we have the one and only Lynn Hillary. She's going to be with us live from Ireland. Now, you may remember I worked on a public television special. I'm on the far left there. There's Amir Magoon, the wonderful Irish flautist. She was a guest on the show. And you see Lynn is the fourth one in on the left. Tim Janis, of course, wonderful composer, dear friend. I usually MC the big Carnegie Hall Christmas concert that they do every year at Carnegie Hall. But this was the Celtic Heart special. And Lynn was a part of that. She used to be with Celtic Woman. And she's got a brilliant solo career. She's also a teacher. She lives in Ireland, and she's an amazing guitarist as well. And she's going to be here exclusively live at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and it's going to be 6 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, and England. That is tomorrow. Yes. I want to let you know also on Tuesday, wonderful author and writer Marie Cawley is going to be here live. Broadway producer extraordinaire Mark Levine is going to be with us on Wednesday exclusively. Actor Sean Kanan, from General Hospital and so much more. He's our guest coming up on Thursday live. And then on Friday from the Waltons, yes, Cami Kotler from the Waltons. She's going to be here as well. There she is on the right when she was on the Waltons on CBS. And she's going to be here on Friday. These are just some of the amazing guests we have coming up. And then the following weekend, live from Ireland, Brian Dunphy, the amazing Irish singer, songwriter, musician. He's also with a very popular group, the High Kings. He's a personal friend. He's going to be live from Ireland and performing live. That is a week from tomorrow. That is February 13th. So join us then. And Lynn Hillary, again, is going to be with us live from Ireland tomorrow. She's going to perform live. We're going to have great music. She's a dear friend. We've known each other for a long time. And again, worked on a lot of different things together. And the last thing we worked on was the Celtic Heart PBS special. And again, this was really a terrific event to be a part of. So that is tomorrow. And of course, we thank our great guests, Jen Sandler and Joe Barros, for joining us from the New York Theater Barn. Maybe you had an opportunity to even check out. There's some great photos we have of some of the other works as well. Just taking you through some of the cool photos here in retrospect. This is just some of the incredible work that goes on at the Theater Barn. We put together a little photo collage here for our lovely viewers. Really, really nice. Again, just some of the cool things that happen there. Cool stuff, isn't it? Maybe you learned something new tonight. We're always here to entertain, inform, educate, have a good time with our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. Hey, we've got a wonderful message that came in from the incomparable, the legendary Sir James Galway when he, of course, you know him as the brilliant and renowned legendary Irish flautist. He and his wonderful wife, Lady Jean Galway, were guests on our show live from Switzerland. He's originally from Ireland. She's originally from New York, but they make their home in Switzerland. And he had such a wonderful time as a guest on our show. We're going to show this tomorrow, too, when Lynn is on the show. But just he sent this today and filmed this little quick thank you clip from his home in Switzerland. This is the renowned Sir James Galway, the brilliant flautist, with a nice message about the Jim Masters Show Live.
Hello, Jim. I just want to tell you how much pleasure Jeannie and I got out of appearing on your show when it was possible to do that. I hope in the future we'll be able to do it again and take part in a great show.
We really appreciate those kind words from the legend, Sir James Galway. We have multitude of those videos and comments that have come in. We did a whole show, I think, was it early January, late December, maybe? I think it was early January, where we had all of these wonderful words from our fabulous guests who've been on the show and also our wonderful viewers. And we did a whole show celebrating them. So what we're going to do is we're putting another show together and we're going to show you some of the ones that aired before because they were really terrific, but also a bevy of new videos that have come in from guests who just wanted to make videos telling us about their wonderful experiences here on our show. Our show is something different. It's something unique. We don't treat it as a stream or a podcast. We actually treat this as an entertainment lifestyle talk show series that you would see on television because of my TV background. So we kind of produce it that way and create that feeling of it being like an old school talk show. It's warm, it's conversational, it's entertaining, it's flowing. There's no time limit to it. And we just roll with it and we bring in the viewers as well. So this is your first taste of the Jim Masters Show Live. We welcome you to join us. Every show is something different. Every topic is something different. We don't do the same old every night. It's like a show filled with variety, filled with inspiration, positivity, good times, smiles, as well as we always learn something new, like with the New York Theater Barn. Maybe you didn't even know it existed until tonight. Perhaps you did. Maybe you just knew a little bit about it, but it filled in the blanks for you. So really cool stuff. And we love putting these shows together for you. And boy, do we have so many incredible shows coming up. Literally, we are booked with guests all the way till mid-April, I think it is. 6 more booked today, 5 more booked yesterday, another one booked about an hour before I went live on the air. And some great guests from a variety of different venues and fields of endeavor. And of course, we have some of our host chat shows too, where we don't have a guest, where it's just you and I chatting about life and food and all kinds of cool things like we like to do. We got to do some more of those. I know that you guys like when your host here chats with you directly, and I love doing that. That's what I do as a host on television and radio. So can't wait to do more of that. We're going to put another one of those together. We may do it around Valentine's Day. So that'd be kind of cool. I mean, Valentine's Day is one of the ultimate lovey days, wouldn't you say? Definitely one of the ultimate lovey days. Again, if you are wondering why we're wearing the red turtleneck, again, it's National Wear Red Day here in the United States. It's calling attention to the #1 health threat for women, cardiovascular disease. And it's all part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign, which happens throughout the entire month of February. They're saying, try to wear red whenever you can, calling attention to this important health threat. But at the same time, usually on the 5th of February is when they have, they request everybody wear red if you can. So I was digging through the walk-in closet and I said, hey, I know I have a red turtleneck. So again, this is honor of all the women out there, the women in my life, all of the women watching, and we wish you nothing but good health. Good health and happy times and lots of levity in your life. So we're saluting all the women out there, not just in the United States, even though it's, wearing the red in the United States, but everybody watching around the world, male, female. But we salute the women, of course, in the red with Go Red for Women with the American Heart Association. I used to host a show, actually a public affairs show, one of the many hats I've worn, for the American Cancer Society. And boy, was that, I should pull out some of those tapes. They go back a ways, but the things that I learned hosting and producing that show, we won many awards actually with it, but we would have guests on, and I would be working with one of the executive directors of the Cancer Society. And we would have these shows where we would be talking about a specific topic, whether it's breast cancer, childhood cancer, a variety of different kinds, and all the different things that could be done, and the latest technologies and support for people and for families who are dealing with a loved one who has cancer. It's just such a rewarding show, this half-hour TV show that I had an opportunity for several years to host and produce with members of the American Cancer Society. And even I learned so much about all the different kinds of cancers, but also all the research and all the support that is out there, because that's obviously with anything that goes on in life, you need to have some support, right? So just amazing. And when the kids would come in, and the kids battling with stomach cancer and things of that nature, they were always so joyful too. You could really get sad about it, but they were inspiring all of us, which was really amazing. So love doing work like that as well. And so again, we're wearing the red here today in honor of all the women, and we wish you all good health. And as we always say, each day is a gift, a blessing, and an opportunity to inspire and to be inspired. #Masters Mantra, one of our Masters mantras that I've been sharing for years on my Facebook page. You can see me on Facebook at Jimmasterstv, Instagram at Jimmasterstv, Twitter at Jimmasterstv, and of course, anybody watching on our YouTube channel, we would love it if you subscribe to the channel and share it. As well, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our exciting content. In addition to the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We have masters, mantras, inspirational videos, and lots more. Plus, every episode of the Jim Masters Show Live, over 250 episodes plus. Some of you are saying there's even more than that. I'm going to have to count them up, but there's at least 250. They are all there for your binge watching, because I know a lot of people are telling me that they binge watch the Jim Masters Show Live, which is, I think, pretty cool, because I think they play one after the other. And some amazing conversations and fun we've had on this series. You can see them all at Jim Masters TV on YouTube, right there for you. And Francis says, cheers to you, Jim, and another show to add to your name. See how many are also scheduled. There's a lot. I know. We've got, I think, a week or so of them as well. Thank you, Shirley. I like that. All the hashtags. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Doc. You got it, my friend. It's good to have you with us, Sherry Lee, too. I know you've been watching the show and enjoying it as well. You're watching it on the YouTube channel. Everybody, tell everybody you know about our show. Let them know about the Jim Masters Show Live. Yes. And Francis, you asked what that little box, see the box that's blinking up there? Francis, you asked what that is. That's one of our logos up there in the upper right-hand corner, Francis. These are some of the logos. They're like watermarks on our episodes. So that's actually me. And you know what that is? That's me inside the Facebook headquarters. And it looks, you said it looked like my arms are crossed. Actually, I'm holding a big Facebook like and a big Facebook F, you know, their logo F. So it's a big F and it's a big Facebook like, and that's inside the Facebook headquarters. I had an opportunity, one of my friends does consulting work for them, and we had lunch there in Menlo Park, California at their headquarters, got a chance to tour it. And so that's part of the logo for our show, as is this as well. So that answers your question as far as what is that up in the corner there? That is actually, that is our logo as well. So good stuff. You the best. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for promoting the show and celebrating it. We appreciate that. And thank you, Jim, for explaining the box. I like the color of the door. Yeah, it's kind of like a tunnel. You go in and it's like a tunnel. And it's not a door. It's actually a deep tunnel, and you go in it, and it has all the psychedelic lighting. And then you can pick up any sort of apparatus to hold up. So I picked up the thumbs up, Facebook like thumbs up, and then the big F logo for Facebook. That's what that is. So that's part of our logo for our videos, but this is our main logo here. So there you go. See, we learn something new every day on the Jim Masters Show Live, even behind the scenes of the show. Mona in Louisiana, great show tonight. Thanks. Love that shirt. That color looks great on you. You know, it's actually redder than it's coming out. It's nice and soft. Don't you wish you can just reach in and it's not too thick and heavy, and it's not too thin. It's right in the middle, and it's very comfortable. It's really nice. Yeah, I've always loved sweaters. I think even when I was a kid, I just loved all kinds of different sweaters. They're comfortable, and they make you feel good and warm when it's cold. We got some snow coming on Sunday, I believe, 4 to 8 inches coming on Sunday. Not quite as much as I think Renee and I were still dealing with. We've got about 4 to 8 inches coming along the coast here on Super Bowl Sunday. A lot of people aren't having big gatherings. They want to be safe. So we have all of our snacks. We're all good here at the house. We got all the snacks today. Some cool snacks, even chocolate and vanilla cupcakes. No, I won't show those, because if I show those now, we're going to do 2 hours of food. Thanks, Jim, for this terrific show. Enjoyed learning more about Jen and Joe and their dedication to the arts with the New York Theater Barn. Good night, Jim and Lovedies. See you for an earlier show tomorrow. Yes, the incomparable Lynn Hillary live. She's going to perform live. She's all excited. She's a wonderful person. She was with the groups Nunya and also Celtic Woman. Nice message from Sir James Galway. Absolutely. I agree, Kathleen. Maureen says, night, night, Willie, moi. We even got Nanu in there. Good night, lovedies. See you tomorrow. Good night, Willie. Sleep well. Good night, Jim and everyone. Wishing all a wonderful weekend, and we will see you as well. And Kathleen Walker, have a great night, Jim. Sending you lovely hugs. Good night, all. And the wonderful Tess LaBella. Oh, Tess, when you get a chance to see Aunt Marion, give Aunt Marion our love, okay? Give her our lovity. I know you talk to Aunt Marion often. My father had an Aunt Marion too. So the name Marion is big in our family. Thank you so much for a lovely time together. Much love and stay warm, Mr. Lovety and all the Loveties. XOXO. Good night, my friend. You as well. Great message from Sir James. I agree. And we're going to have a whole show where we show you more of them. Yours and your daughter's was a standout as well, Juanita. Shirley Leonard. Love this testimony from Sir James Galway. Absolutely. Good night, everyone. Take care. Mary Bishop. And again, amazing guests we have coming up tomorrow, and amazing guests we have coming up. Also, I just got another message that came in. Getting messages all the time. If the phone isn't dinging and the Facebook isn't ringing and the Instagram isn't flinging, oh boy. We've got some amazing guests coming up next week too. Really cool stuff. You guys also like the authors and the inspirational people too, I know. So we have a lot more of them coming on, and just amazing people. Renowned alto saxophonist and smooth jazz composer Will Donato is coming up on our show, and just incredible people. Such wonderful guests coming up as always. Working really hard, really, really hard. This show, even though I have full-time work in television and radio, this show is becoming, if not has already become, like a full-time job for me, because of everything that we do behind the scenes to build the show. It isn't a matter of just sitting in the chair and flipping on the lights. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to put it all together, from the very first booking of a guest or theme idea or whatever it is. Thank you, Kathleen. Mindy, love Celtic music. Very exciting, Jim. Welcome, Mindy. It's a pleasure to have you here. We hope you'll become one of our regular loveties. Our show is generally nightly at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And sometimes we do, different times. Like tomorrow, we're going to be on at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, because our guest is in Ireland. So it'll be 6 o'clock for her. But spread the word about the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We're combining the old school talk show way that they used to do it. All the legends did it, with a modern twist, modern vibe of today. Jim, incredible show. Always great. Super snow week. Yes. Live in love, or it could be live in love too, because we are live. And good stuff. And Christine says, thanks for the exceptional work you all do each day, and for giving back. It was interesting to see clips, everybody understanding of what goes on. Very uplifting show. Thank you very much, Christine in North Carolina. We appreciate that as well. And again, Nanu from Cassandra. Thanks, everyone. Of course, that's what Mork used to say. Played by Robin Williams. Albert says, cool. I love it. Albert, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live too. It's great to have you here. And Sherry Lee says, someone has to do a film or play or stand up on trying to get the vaccine stories, so much material. You got yours in the middle of the night at a pop-up open 24/7 downtown New York. Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Cool stuff. I appreciate all you do to bring us this show. Thank you, Jim. Make sure you take care of you. I know. I've been going to bed really late, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Since I started this show, the Jim Masters Show Live, my biological clock has been flipped, because what happens is, doing a show that's like an hour to 2 hours. Here we are. We've been on the air for 2 hours live straight. It's almost like a telethon. and I've hosted a lot of those over the years too. I'm usually pumped up and the adrenaline is fired, and I'm can't necessarily just, conk out right about now. I end up having a snack and we catch up on what's going on in the world. But so I'm trying to shift that because, when the days are busy, it's tough when you're going to bed at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning because you're still up and wired and doing work. So we're working on that. We are working on trying to get to bed a little bit earlier, and hopefully we will. And headphones holding in place. That's a good thing. And when buying Kevin's book today, one of Andrew Main's popped up. So I read that today, halfway through already. So good. Oh, that's cool. So when you were buying Kevin's book, one of Andrew Main's popped up. So read that today, halfway through. So good. That's cool. That's cool. Hugs and love to all. We're going to have to start getting some sponsors for this show, right? I think so. We're well past, everybody keeps telling me we're well past that time. It's good to have some sponsors to sponsor the Jim Masters Show live. That'd be cool. Allows us to bring more content your way. Subscribing to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, also allows us to continue to bring you some great episodes and content. Your interviews are very heartfelt. Lovely evening. Thank you, Robin. And thank you for connecting us with all of this as well. And I think we really touched beautifully on the work at the New York Theater Barn. And I think Joe and Jen enjoyed themselves. It was a pleasure having them on as my guests on the show tonight. And you have a good night, Robin. Jim, I came in late, didn't want to interrupt. You should do a show on what it takes to produce the show. That would be a good idea. Gary in Iowa, sort of like the behind the scenes of what it takes. Willie says her clock is also flipped. Has it flipped its lid? And Sherry Lee says, Sherry Lee Leonard in New York, you definitely make things look easy. So easy. Come work out with us at Isaac Boots on Instagram. He posts the workouts. If I can't make his 11 a.m. live every day, that sounds good. That sounds good. We do a lot of walking. We do miles. We live along the coast here, so we go along the coast into this beautiful parks and everything. Do a lot of cycling, tennis. And of course, when I'm in the ocean, swimming, surfing, and all the rest in the ocean, as you guys know, if you follow the show, I'm definitely an ocean person. I think many of us sleep crazy hours the past year. I know you and I had a conversation once at 3 in the morning during the pandemic year on one of them too. Lovely hugs to all. You as well. You as well. Cool stuff. So, as we always say here on the show, the Jim Masters Show Live, again, you've got the idea of the fact that we are on daily, 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific. And also, all the guests, Lynn Hillary is coming up tomorrow live at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and 6 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, and England. She'll be live from Ireland. It's going to be amazing tomorrow. Don't forget to smile, as we always say. Don't forget to share the smile. That can be very contagious. Don't forget to share the levity, which we always talk about on the Jim Masters Show Live. When I accidentally said the show is about light, love, and levity, said it too fast, and all of a sudden I said the word levity. And from that day forward, that has been one of our key words to the show. Find your Zen place. My Zen place is always the ocean. Of course, my first Zen place is with loving family and friends. Working, of course, in television and radio and stage, on camera, on air, multimedia, behind the scenes all these years, TV stations, radio stations, networks, production companies, stages, you name it, we've probably been there and done it. So love all of that, love my work, and hopefully it shows when you watch these shows and maybe other things I've done on television and radio over the years. And of course, the ocean. The ocean is my Zen place, and I'm always in it. Always in it. Hey, Terry Woolman's here. Remember Terry Woolman, of course. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Hey, Jim, I hope you and your worldwide family are safe and well. So great to have you with us, Terry. Terry was an amazing guest. He played live for us. He's a brilliant musician, a performer. He's just incredible, and loved having him on the show. Thanks, Terry. It's you've got a wonderful video too that we're going to be showing soon. And I can't wait to show that. Some kind words you said about the show, Terry. If you didn't see the episode with Terry, definitely go back in our archives. He was an amazing guest to have on the show. Loved having him here, and we will definitely have Terry back on the show. As we always say here on the Jim Masters Show Live, don't forget to love one another, breathe from the diaphragm. It's very important to do that. And of course, love yourself. It's really important to do that too. And don't forget to relax. Make sure you relax as much as you can. And don't strive for perfection. If you're going to strive for anything, strive for excellence. It's a lot more liberating than trying to be perfect. Strive for excellence. You're still striving for the best, but just by not saying perfect, it gives you a lot more breathing room. That's for sure. It's something we've all had to learn. Somebody here that says good night to all of you, of course, is one of our cast of characters, the one and only George Burns, who had a wonderful evening with all of you as well. And you got Gilligan back there, and Silver, and Jimmy's hanging out back there. And I know you guys are waiting for maybe around Valentine's Day weekend. Next weekend, we'll bring out Lynn, the monster panda. That was a Christmas gift that came my way, who's sitting right over there. I know you guys are asking about Lynn, so we're going to bring Lynn aboard as well. So with that, gang, I think we've said it all. Bye, bye, bye. It was a blast having you on the show, Terry. Absolutely. And we'll have you back. Smiles from Willie as well. And Juanita says her clock is broken in South Africa. School starting on the 14th, so you'll have to readjust. Yeah, a lot of readjustments are definitely happening lately as we just stick together through the craziness of everything we've been going through. Again, this was a blast. I toast all of you. Thanks so much for joining us on the Jim Masters Show Live. It's always wonderful to have you here. Don't forget to spread the lovity. Tell everybody about the show, your family, your friends, your colleagues. The more, the merrier. And we'll keep doing these shows as long as you guys are out there enjoying them. We're all coming together. We've built a beautiful community of lovities here, our viewers who are lovities. And it's my pleasure to be your host nightly, sometimes daily, sometimes twicely, twice a day, whatever it takes. Willie, thank you very much, as are you guys. And Amy, who we shared wonderful poetry from, as well we did with Debbie Tosin Kilday. If you didn't see that episode earlier this week, it was amazing. And Amy's poetry was shared as well. Spread the lovity. That's what it's all about, Amy. You got it. You got it. Oh, good. You're telling everybody about the Jim Masters Show Live on TikTok. Cool. Love that. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Sherry Lee. And hopefully we'll be together and go to dinner in the city. I think the last time I saw you was at the Cutting Room in Manhattan, right? Yeah, I think so. And Austin was there. Austin Typograph was, I think, with us, wasn't he? That was really cool. We'll have to, when we're able to get together in the city, we will have to do that again. Super episode. Hashtag spread the lovity. Thank you, Sherry Lee. Night. What a lovely start to the weekend. Thanks. Thank you, Mindy. I appreciate that. This is what we do all the time. This is what a typical Jim Masters Show Live is like. Yes. When we were at the Cutting Room in the city, right? Yes. Good memory we have, right? Cheers. Good night, Mr. Lovely, and all the lovities as well. And Francis says, you also take some time to relax. Otherwise, we will not be able to see you on this show. I do not feel alone in my sleep pattern now, hearing you and yours. Good night, Jim, and everyone. Well, thank you, gang. You guys are the best. And Joe's here. He's still feeling the lovity. Isn't that great? That's what happens. The lovity sort of lingers, and it's a beautiful thing. Share it through the streets of the city for us, Joe. And we'll have you back, Joe. It was really great having you on the show. You guys are terrific. And cool show tonight. Really cool show. And Willie, who's still up with us at 3 a.m. in Holland, in the Netherlands, you are a trooper. You got to go to bed now. You are past your bedtime. Sherry Lee says, love watching the archive segments, but nothing like live with you, Jim. I love live. I've always loved everything live. You know, if people ask, do you have a preference of when it's all scripted or teleprompter or what have you? I've done all that work too. A lot of scripted material, a lot of teleprompter material, what have you, but there's something exciting about live television, live radio, live stage, live on location. All of my cylinders are firing. You know, I got to make magic happen and people are counting on me and all that kind of stuff. And as we've talked about on this show, there's been times where I've been on radio or on television where I was on for hours because the show was hours or because something went wrong in the studio and I had to keep talking. It happened to me once on PBS where I was on for 40 minutes straight because the other co-host, who was the program director, was called out of the studio. He was my co-host that day because something technical went wrong with the show they were airing. So I had to just keep going for 40 minutes and they were handing me all kinds of things to show on camera. And a lot of people said, my God, that must have been scary as heck. And I'm like, no, it was fantastic because it was really challenging me to keep moving, keep everything look effortless and smooth. And like all the pieces of the puzzle were placed perfectly like this, like all of this was supposed to happen. Some of those best moments sometimes are when they're not scripted, when you are called upon to get out there and do something. That to me, it's like a sport. All the cylinders are firing. And so even doing this show live, we could easily, you know, a lot of people that do video stuff and they put it on YouTube, it's always heavily edited. It's not live and they just, you know, it's edited and then there it is. I really love the element of live because I've had so much training, you know, over the years in broadcast and so much more in live work. So it's really cool. I love the anything can happen and there's just a certain energy that really comes from it. So thank you very much for saying you love the live as much as watching the archived shows that are all available for you guys on YouTube. Have a good night, Sherry Lee. You too, Christine. Levity always remains long after the show is over. It's really amazing, this word. We're coming up with the swag. I know you guys, we've talked about our Levity Cruise. We mentioned it last night. We're putting together a Levity Cruise probably for 2022. That's going to be cool. And the Levity swag, the Jim Master Show Live Levity swag. And I know you guys want hats, shirts, mugs, different things like that. And we're working on all that with some design people. Good night to Christine. Good night to Kathleen. That rhymed. Good night. Take care. Sleep well. Stay safe. Emojis galore. And Willie. Willie's waiting for me to give her the cue to go to bed. So Willie, you can go to bed now. It's late. It's 3 a.m. You want to rest up because we're on early tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon, which is better for you because it'll be earlier for you in the Netherlands. However, not much time between now and then for you. All right, gang. Thank you. We can help with mask swag. Yes, I like that idea. I've been thinking about that. Levity masks, the Jim Master Show Live Levity masks. Some people have asked about that, so we're thinking about that. And yes. Heading into bed. I know we like to chat, right? We have long goodbyes on this show. Nobody wants to say goodbye. So we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. We have extended. This is a little host chat we're doing right now, which we love to do. Good night, all. May your dreams be sweet. You too, Maureen. And thanks for getting home in time. I know you do beautiful work in the medical field, and we toast you for that as well. I have several relatives who are nurses, and they work in the medical field in New York. And the stories they can tell from the last year. I'm lucky to have met some really nice people through your show. Kathleen, thank you. You and I know each other personally as friends even before the show. So it's nice. Very, very nice. Good night. Good night to you in Iowa. Time for wine and martinis. I like that. I like that. Good night as well. Good night. Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. That's right. See you later or see you soon. It'll be 8 p.m. for you tomorrow, right? So 6 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, England, 8 p.m. for you, 1 p.m. Eastern here, and 10 a.m. for our friends and relatives out on the West Coast. What are you going to eat? Maybe just something light. We're probably going to end, well, not end, but we're probably going to try to go to bed a little bit earlier because we do have the earlier show tomorrow. So there's a lot of prep for the show with Lynn Hillary as our guest tomorrow. So we'll probably be, it's 9:11 right now, exactly 11 minutes after 9 Eastern time here in the United States in the Northeastern area. We are in the greater New York area between New York and Boston along the southern New England coast. It'll be 7 p.m. tomorrow when we do our show in Holland. That's great. 1 p.m. here, 7 there. And as Albert says, I like Albert's way of thinking. He goes, "Lovity means never having to say goodnight." So with that, I'll say lovity. All right, gang, we are officially going to wrap up. We've said all of our goodbyes, our thank yous, our toasting and roasting and all the rest. You guys are the best. Love you all. Thanks so much for joining us in this episode of our continuing series. Just like, what was the announcer's name on the soap opera Another World on NBC? He would say, join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World. So join us each weeknight or weekday or weekday morning, because it depends on what time the time zone is for you, for our continuing series of the Jim Masters Show Live. 2 more comments. Very funny. And you're going to sleep like a rock. So you've really received a lot of zen tonight, because I know you like to be zen as you're still buried in all that snow you guys got in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You guys were the bullseye of snow. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Good night, gang. We shall see you tomorrow if you're here. If not, you have a good weekend. We love you all, and thanks for watching the Jim Masters Show Live. Take care. Be well. Jim Masters thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, tomorrow. Sorry I missed it live. I'll watch it later. No problem, Pasqua. It's all there for you on the YouTube channel. We're so glad that you're following our series. We love you as well. Want some snow? No, you can keep all that snow you got in Allentown, although we got 1.5 feet here, and we've got 4 to 8 inches coming on Sunday. Days of Our Lives. Yes, Days of Our Lives. Another great one. Allison, did you see when actor Kevin Spiritus was on our show a week ago? He starred in Days of Our Lives. He was also in One Life to Live, The Young and the Restless, Friday the 13th, the movie 7. He was a guest a week ago. You can check that out. Also, Anson Williams, who played Patsy on Happy Days, was also a guest a week ago on our show. And some other fabulous people that have been with us. So, all right. Whew, I think we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. Once again, Jim Masters, thank you for your time this time. Till next time, see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Good night, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.